Here we are at episode 6 of Toni and Dr. Bruce, and the question is, if we choose our current lives during the between lives state prior to birth, why would we choose to be reborn into a life of hardship or challenge such as poverty, misery, mental or physical incapacitation? Dr. Bruce?
To understand the rationale behind the answer to this, we must first understand who the we, which chooses to be reborn into such life conditions, or indeed chooses to be reborn at all, actually is or isn't. It isn't the conscious mind which inhabits our physical body and forms the beliefs, paradigms, perspectives, and prejudices accumulated during its current lifetime on Earth. The choice is made in the time period between lives by the immortal soul. And it's made with the accumulated knowledge of multiple lifetimes.
And unless one is unusually spiritually inclined, the average person might view situations and events from the limited perspective of their mortal minds and bodies. So it's human nature to take the path of least resistance, the easy way out, that is. We all do that. However, I guess our immortal self, our soul, sees and understands things quite differently, and it knows and understands the nature of karma and the necessity to allow itself to grow by teaching it to view and experience life from every angle.
You know, Toni, as we saw in one of our previous shows, karma shows us that as spiritual beings, we're part of a lives-long process in which we choose to learn particular lessons and have necessary experiences, no matter how distasteful our mortal minds might view them. Athletes, bodybuilders, fitness enthusiasts will know exactly what I mean. These people understand that to reach their goal, they must often subject themselves to what to others would seem like excruciating torture. You know, the old saying, no pain, no gain. In the same way, the soul understands that we need to experience what we construe from the limited perspective of our current life as an awful life in order to balance out other experiences, reach our soul potential, and ultimately end the cycle of reincarnation. Toni?
Yeah, I guess an ancillary question to the one we posed above is, we are seeing so much destruction and devastation on our planet. What purpose is served by the destruction of property and the loss of lives? But first, recall our true identities, the spirit being temporarily inhabiting physical bodies. Our souls have chosen to incarnate here on Earth, and it's in order to evolve through experiencing the life situations that are found here. And the goal of all spiritual evolution is to remember who we are, where we came from, and what incredible powers we really possess. And I guess that's the whole thing about recall and regression. Any thoughts on this, Dr. Bruce?
Yeah, Toni. Let me first say that there are no accidents, and you know that. Prior to physical incarnation, our souls choose the family that they're going to be born into, the geographical locale, the ethnic, the religious groups into which they'll be born. Our choices are influenced by the lessons we want to learn and the experiences that we want to have while living on the earth plane. As an example, allow me to draw upon something that I'm intimately acquainted with, living as I do in Southern California, and that's earthquakes. A soul may choose to incarnate into a geographical locale where devastation like earthquakes is known to occur. Furthermore, we might choose to incarnate into a group of people who also plan to use the earthquakes as a learning tool. Within the group, some will use the earthquake to learn how to care for others. Some might use it to experience being rescued from a life-threatening situation by an individual toward whom that they're intolerant. Others may choose to be torn away from other concerns in order to realize that family and friends are their most precious possessions. And still others have chosen to use the earthquakes as their means of leaving the physical body and returning to the spirit. Those whose souls plan to exit the earth plane will find themselves located where the opportunity to leave is going to be presented. Those whose souls who plan to survive, well, they will survive.
Yes. And for those who remain on the earth plane, the death or the so-called death of loved ones is painful, yet that offers even more learning opportunities, such as developing the ability to function independently. And each person experiences the earthquake according to the soul's intentions. There's no mistakes. And no event is without soul meaning. No circumstance is without purpose. And through it all, a God or the universe of love allows us to learn at our own pace and in our own way.
Another question may be that if a recognition of reincarnation, Toni, is so valuable for the soul's growth, why do we witness abject poverty in countries that have embraced this concept of reincarnation for centuries? India is a good example. The large-scale planetary problems like poverty and starvation are indicative of the degree of spiritual blindness that are still present within the whole of humanity. We as a whole haven't perceived the truth that we are indeed one family. We refuse to recognize that this planet Earth is capable of supporting all of its inhabitants if we share its resources. Now, we in the West have been taught to believe in the survival of the fittest, and we can therefore very easily look into the eyes of one in poverty and we convince ourselves that, oh, it's natural, it's okay, because Jesus said the poor you will always have with you, didn't he?
I think it's really misunderstood the sense of poverty and if we haven't lived in it, then we can perceive it to be different to how it really is. And I know when you travel to countries such as India, they don't see themselves in the way that we see them as coming from Western culture. So it's very interesting, and often I notice that those very simple lives, those people are happy. They have these connections with each other that we potentially get disconnected as in Western society. So it's a great debate, I suppose, that one can't really understand unless you're in those very shoes. But on reincarnation's companion concept is that we reap what we sow. And it's all too easy to look upon the poor and say they're reaping what they sowed. Well, it might be true. However, it does not relieve us of the responsibility to help overcome the fact of poverty on the planet. When we look the other way, we're sowing the seeds of unconcern that we will reap from others in the future. But one of the chief ways by which we incur karmic debt is the refusal to assist those less fortunate than we are. And I guess conversely, service to others is a major means by which we pay off a karmic debt.
There can be many reasons why souls choose to incarnate into poverty. And some reasons might really surprise us. For example, all souls play a vital role in the unfolding of divine order on a planetary basis. And in order for the human family to learn ways to share the planet's resources with all its members, large numbers of souls must volunteer to incarnate into poverty. And that way they present to others the motivation to create a means of sharing. Now, as these volunteers live in poverty, they not only assist their planetary family, but they also pay off karmic debt through their service.
Yeah, I do wonder about the advancement of people who come, or the souls that come to do those jobs for us, because an individual soul might incarnate into poverty in order to develop empathy and the skills to manifest a better life for themselves or in turn for others. And I mean, we have to maybe not have, a lot of people don't have empathy for it, and they're afraid of these people, but we have the chance to develop empathy for ourselves. But all life situations have within them an upward spiral of possibilities and positive spiritual evolution. It's up to the individual soul to use every condition of life as a means of constructive growth, both for self and for others. And sometimes I feel like people who we perceive to be in poverty are here to invoke empathy. And it's you know, think of a homeless man and the contempt or even fear that some feel. They see them rather than offer help, and they judge or ignore.
Actually, Toni, one of the most logical and compelling answers that I can give to the questions that we share today is this. From our mortal perspective, time can be interminable. As young children, our biblically allotted life's time of 70 can seem like, well, a lifetime. Shakespeare wrote, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day. Of course, as we grow older, the days seem to pass in a blur, but even this quickened pace pales in comparison to the cosmic time frame that our immortal souls, which have lived dozens and hundreds, maybe thousands of lifetimes, know to be true. Regardless of the challenges that we choose to face in any given incarnation, each lifetime passes in the twinkling of an eye. And that's a small price to pay for eternal rewards.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Whoa. Well, it's that time already. So in the next show, we are doing Q&A. So you can post your questions, and Dr. Bruce and I will endeavour to answer as many as possible during the next show. So you've been watching Toni and Dr. Bruce, where we discuss all matters related to reincarnation and past life regression. If you enjoyed the show, then invite your friends to tune in.
We've been here before, and we will be again. As a matter of fact, we'll be here next week, and we hope you will too. See you.
See you.
Bye.